Endometriosis is a debilitating condition to have, and it is one that can rob a woman of her fertility, her femininity, health, and also vitality. And we also have all thresholds in our lives. And endometriosis, as much as any other ailment, have also now accumulated emotional stress behind it, and that is universally shared. Hi, my name is Evette Rose, author and founder of Metaphysical Anatomy, which is a book that guides you to understanding hidden messages in the emotional body. And welcome to today's topic, which is understanding and uncovering the hidden emotional stress behind endometriosis, which affects up to 10% of women. And this condition is where the lining of the uterus starts to grow in different areas in the reproductive area. And this lining now becomes, for example, thicker and also inflamed during menstrual cycles. And it can even start to break off into pieces, becoming trapped in the reproductive area, causing pain and discomfort. And it's a very long list of physical pain that we can go on and on and on about. And if you are challenged with that, then you will know exactly what I mean. So let's move over now to the emotional body, also the hidden messages and the stress that has been held there, and also the meaning behind it. Because when you look at an ailment, the causes of that as well, it tells you almost exactly what is going on in the person's life. And the most amazing part is that in most cases, these emotional messages that are stored in specific parts of the body is universally shared because our blueprint is the same. Now, storing emotions in similar places and also the intensity of it is now held and also built on over generations. So here is a short breakdown of endometriosis and also the inflammation that you have there. Firstly, that always relates to suppressed anger. Now, in this case, the anger could also be directed at a female figure in your life or someone who was or who is meant to play a role in your life, that feminine role. Now, for example, if you had a father without a mother, then the father figure can also actually have taken on this projected role. Now, the thickening of the lining of the emotional and psychosomatic meanings here, for example, now also is resistance. Now that's also building up, right? Building up to having and to behaving a certain way, especially now as a woman that is not in alignment with your true self. Now you might also have found yourself you're fighting, right? Fighting to be someone and to be someone which in reality you can just gracefully become and step into that, stepping into your true authentic self. But let's be honest, right? When it comes to you and just being you, that is your birthright, right? You know that. You can just claim it without having to fight for it. Now, the fight here in this case is a created intellectual form because of perhaps you were made to feel and believe that you can't have what you want. You can't be who you just want to be. And that now your rebelling nature is stemming from this. And I'm sure that you've noticed this, right? You've noticed this rebel in you, and it's caused perhaps also its own unrelated consequences to deal with as a side product of your deep feelings of powerlessness, right? So having said that, a word of caution though, because now just observing patterns of women who are challenged with endometriosis, who once, for example, now was the victim of abuse, need to be mindful because you can move from being a victim to becoming an abuser, right? Especially because of your sensitivity toward your environment and your short fuse with certain relationship dynamics. So mindfulness is very important here so that you don't fall into that trap. Now, this is also a result of failed boundaries, right? If that is the case, then I would highly recommend my healing course, Healing Your Boundaries, Finding Peace Again, at www.findingpeaceagain.com. Now, coming back to what I said earlier, there is more to endometriosis and also the hidden patterns that I've mentioned so far. So let's also look here at suppressed creativity, right? This also plays a very big role. Now, in this case here, I mean creativity that is not authentic to you. and you haven't tapped deep enough into your own unique creativity. And instead, you've been relying on other people's creativity to set a standard for you to follow. And it is now, this condition now is also showing you that it's time for you to find your own sense of self, to find your own creative expression that is not related to someone else's expression, right? And it's time for you to find yours, right? So your creative flow will become more rewarded when it is authentic, as the universe works with authenticity. So if you deceive your own creativity, right? But the law of attraction here is always listening. You can deceive yourself, but not the law of attraction. So here we also now have an interesting twist to this scenario, because you might also now have found that your past has left you feeling stuck in a fighting instinctive response. And you feel stuck in the fight or flight mode. And the only way to feel safe is to be in control of every aspect of your life. And this fighting instinctive response is an attitude that has now become a coping mechanism, has hardened your femininity and also your relationship with yourself to the point where you can also now almost physically identify with being feminine, however, not emotionally. So you try to cover up perhaps by dressing and behaving feminine. However, deep down, your inner aggression starts to come forward when someone offends you in one way or another. And that detaches you from the inner femininity, right? That inner softness and inner compassion. Now, you also tend to overreact in your life because your sensitivity towards your environment, right? And this is now only an end result of feeling drained and exhausted by being stuck in an inner masculine state, right? So despite your vulnerable appearances and behavior. Now, I also just quickly here want to touch base on fear of perhaps having children, right? Despite having that natural urge. So the fear of becoming a parent can also be just as strong because your own childhood experiences might have been very traumatic. And now you have a fear of your childhood history, right? That can now repeat itself, perhaps, and even just the thought of it can trigger deep down unresolved pain from your own childhood. So having children might not actually be the issue. It is what the concept triggers in you. Now, you might also be attached to your independence. So this is also where you feel most powerful. And bearing a child might also challenge now your ability to be independent of others. And you might feel now here in this case as well that you will inevitably now invite circumstances that will make you feel controlled and trapped. Now, your life has also perhaps been consumed by responsibilities that cause you to feel you've sunk into situations that are above and over your head to deal with on your own. Now, you might also here in this case find yourself in situations where you need to be saved regularly, right? As good intentions with the wrong approach has now backfired because of lack of transparency either on your part or on someone else's part. And you seem to feel quite resentful of being a female, right? Always pulling the short end of the rope in society and having to fight for what it is that you want. Now, this is where your inner rebel is coming out because you've now seen women being treated unfairly, abused, and disrespected, causing you to try and avoid experiencing the same treatment. And now you feel unable to access your feminine power. Instead, you've relied on your masculine power to try to tap into your feminine power. So what you're doing is that you're counterbalancing the very end goal that you're trying to achieve. Now you feel that also here perhaps that your foundation is brittle, right? There's no solid ground to fall back on. For example, when you're faced with challenges. Now, this may cause you to feel very insecure and scared or unsure of your ability to cope with life. And everything up to this point has been hostile and traumatizing. And you often revert to an old aggressive state of mind, right? To keep yourself safe and to establish clear boundaries. Now, you might also here in this case feel under attack, right? Either verbally or physically by influential females in your life. And your experience with love may have been intensely traumatic, destructive, and it left a deep wounded emotional scar. And you want to be creative, yet you feel controlled or attacked or judged, and you don't feel safe to truly express yourself or to be loved by people that you should feel safe with. And this could also be a part of the expression that in your creativity, where you are not being authentic in your creativity, is because of the fear of judgment. So, If you, for example, write off someone else's ideas or thoughts, for example, because if there's attack, if there's criticism, then it's not a reflection onto your identity. It's then that other person's creativity being attacked and not yours, which is a subconscious way of trying to be safe. So communicating your emotions here as well, or concerns or fears, was never an option. So you might have been ridiculed, rejected, or taken advantage of wherever you opened yourself up or reached out for comfort and support. And you also had to toughen up very early in life. And if, for example, if you didn't, then your circumstances would have mentally and emotionally consumed you. Now, there's also a very big conflict between what you see, how you feel, and how you should express it. So often you choose to suppress yourself as you've been introduced to a collective consciousness where women cannot speak up. So the final conclusion here is that communication now can be gentle, soft, and graceful, because there can be a pattern for you where innocent people are now bearing the consequences for pain and trauma that you experienced in the past. And allow now this new support that's coming into your life, allow that support to come in. Love the support, nurture the support, because it is your birthright to be supported in a way that is healthy. But it's also important to nurture the relationship dynamics that you have with the people that support you, because you need them. So keep the relationship healthy, keep it kind, keep it filled with love, because people are there in your life for all the right reasons, and the ones that you feel that are not, do something about it. Take action, right? Stop allowing that from being or coming into your life. It's like what I say, you're not a tree, you're not stuck, right? Move, do something, take action. So also the last point that I want to leave you here with is the femininity that you want. You can have it. It always has been with you. You never lost it. It's now a matter of recognizing when you need the masculine side of you and when you can gracefully and gently step back into your femininity. So guys, keep your beautiful, wonderful questions coming in, and until next time, be the light that you are.
Hi guys, thank you for joining me, and remember to grab your copy of Metaphysical Anatomy on Amazon, 679 medical ailments. And I also wrote about the psychosomatic root causes of that, and I'm spoiling you because I even added key points for you to start looking at important questions that you can ask yourself to start improving your quality of life. And also remember to catch me on Instagram, Evette Rose 1 with the digit 1, and Metaphysical Anatomy on our Facebook fan page. Bye guys.